Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Planning Board meeting for the Lakeville Planning Board. It is Thursday, November 12th, 2020 at 7 p.m. This is a remote meeting. And first item on the agenda, I'm going to read into the record that in accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 20, related to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, the November 12th, 2020 public meeting of the Planning Board shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view this meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available at lakecam.tv/. For the record, is anybody else recording this meeting other than LakeCam? And so I'm going to take attendance here, starting with board members. Just kind of raise your hands as I go around. I see Barbara Mankowski, Michelle McEachran, and Jack Lynch.
Here.
And I currently don't see Peter Conroy. Barbara, would you mind, do you have Peter's cell phone? I don't know if he was, if he notified anybody he couldn't attend, but it was quite a ways back in the email trail for the Zoom login. So we might want to shoot him that just in case he's struggling to find it. So the first hearing tonight on the agenda is a site plan review for 202 Main Street. We're going to meet with Riverhawk Engineering, which is Bob Rigo. And the applicant we have here is D. Elliott. And at this point, I'm going to recuse myself from this hearing and turn it over to the vice chair, Barbara. Barbara, please unmute yourself to start on that too.
Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Okay, so I guess we're ready to hear from the presentation is going to be presented with Riverhawk Environmental. Is that correct? Are they present?
Bob, you're muted.
Is that Bob Messier?
I apologize. Bob Rigo
Rigo.
from Riverhawk Environmental. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll start off D. Elliott, the owner of the property, an applicant, maybe just give a brief overview and then I can jump in and kind of back up with the technical nature of our application.
D, you're muted as well.
He's muted.
Can everyone hear me now?
A little bit louder.
Okay. Well, thank you for considering Elliott Farms plans this evening. My name is Dee Elliott, owner of Elliott Farm on Main Street in Lakeville. My father, Ken Elliott, came to the former Wilkie Farm in 1993 and began selling his homegrown produce to the public. In 2014, my brother and I assumed management of the farm, and since then we've expanded to 50 acres in vegetable production. Our retail stand is thriving, thankfully, and we run a 200-member CSA program. In addition to that, we grow about 50,000 pounds of produce for neighboring communities that faced food insecurity due to COVID-19. And this past June, the state announced a COVID-19 related grant program for food producers. And we were fortunate enough to receive funding from that program to support the construction of a new farm stand facility, the plans for which you're reviewing tonight. As part of that grant program, there's a stipulation that the project must be completed by June 30th, 2021. And this is an ambitious construction timeline. So I kindly ask that you all consider this time constraint when reviewing our plans. Engineer Bob Rigo with Riverhawk Environmental will present the plans. And on behalf of myself and my family, I just wanted to thank everyone for their time this evening. Thank you.
Bob, would you like to begin speaking?
Yes, please. should I share my screen? Would it make it easier for?
Sure.
if I were
Yep,
to-
that'd be great.
All right, great. Okay, so as Dee stated, this is the Elliott Farm, I guess. It's on the southeasterly side of Main Street. It's approximately 6 acres in size. The overall thing that the section we're showing on this plan here in front of you is the section which includes the existing barn and farm stand. It's the property is located in a residential zone, and there's basically an existing dwelling on the property that's the owners of the farm live in, and then or I guess Dee's father lives in. There's an existing barn, an associated cooler, and then there's a carport associated with that, with the sale of the vegetables. There's a parking lot which provides parking currently for about 10 cars, and there's 5 greenhouses on the easterly portion of the property. Basically, they're looking to improve that by basically demolishing the existing barn, which is located on this portion of the property, and building a new barn that would serve as the farm stand. It would have 2 overhang portions to the property. The stand itself would be about 40 by 40, and there'd be 2 18 by 40 overhangs, one on the northerly side and one on the easterly side. They would take the existing cooler that's already on the property and kind of relocate that onto what would be a proper loading dock. It would be at an elevation that would allow them to back up and with their existing truck and load and unload to the cooler. We're proposing to improve the parking. So instead of 10 spots, there'll be 19 spots that we'd be providing, including 1 handicapped handicapped accessible parking space, and then 18 additional spaces, which would be 8 more than currently exists. And we'll get that kind of in a similar area to what exists there now. It would just be slightly rearranged and reconfigured, so it'd be a little more efficient. At the same time, we'd improve the driveway access in and out of the parking area for the farm stand, just by making those, basically they're in the same location of the current curb cuts on Main Street. They'd just be readjusted to be a little more perpendicular and widened slightly with some wider curb radii on the entrances, just to make the in and out a little easier in and out of the facility. We'd basically, the grading, we've maintained kind of the natural grades, kind of so that the water flows as it does now. We've just improved kind of made the parking lot up in this area somewhat flatter. It does, this area of the site slopes off steeply to the east. And we've provided basically for tractor access into the fields along the Main Street side, and then for basically vehicle access and also customer and pedestrian access into the field area where they sell, from what I understand, flowers, where people can pick their own flowers and vegetables, and Dee could probably expand on that better than I. And that's basically it. I believe that basically the same operations at the facility, just with improved parking layout and also, and maybe I'll let Dee also talk about how this farm stand might be used in a slightly different way than it is now, if there are any. So I guess I'll turn it back over to Dee for that.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit more. So the farm stand will serve as a retail space, but also as a workspace, storage and food processing area. So it's a 2-story facility. The ground floor will be a work area and storage space for the farm. The first floor will be divided down the middle, the first half being the retail space, so 20 by 40. And then in the back, the same size space, 20 by 40, will be a workspace, cooler space, storage space, also a bathroom and a kitchen area for us to be able to cut fresh produce and sell like sliced melon, shucked corn, things of that nature. So retail customers have the outdoor retail space over the porch roof in the front. They would enter the retail space and exit onto the porch on the left-hand side to check out and exit.
Oh, there's just some elevation views of the proposed barn and stand area also. And that's, I think that's it, unless Dee has anything additional to add.
I don't think so, but I'm happy to answer any questions the planning board has.
Before I ask my couple of questions, does anybody else have questions at this time?
If I could make a comment, I'm just thrilled about this. I'm excited to see the additional parking, the farm stand. I think this is such a vital part of our community and for the surrounding towns. And I really appreciate that you're doing this. And I really don't want to see us, be the reason that you're slowed down in any way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Does anybody else have comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. I just want to mention that I guess I do have one question. On the farm stand, there's a reference to an entrance location for trucks. I would presume those trucks that were referenced when Bob was speaking are specific to farm equipment that's being used and not something larger that's taking goods to and from the farm.
We also have a 14-foot box truck that we use. So we partner with other local farms. We don't grow lots of berries or apples on our farm. So we partner with Cervelli Farm in Rochester, Four Town Farm in Seekonk. So that's the largest truck that we'll be using to bring in various produce and local items that we don't grow on site.
Perfect. Okay. Just for the sake of anyone who's watching the program, I think it's important to note that this is a residential district, but under our bylaw, you can sell you can have agricultural use and the sale of goods as part of the by right for residential location. So we don't see any issue with, at least we don't see any issue at this time with proceeding with this approval. The one thing that I would mention is that I do think that the Board of Selectmen needs to be, oh, Mark, yes.
After thinking about this, Barbara, I know that their time constraints are tight, and as chairman, I would be prepared to call in a meeting next Thursday if needed. If the remainder of the board that was going to vote on this felt uncomfortable with an approval, but when the plans were turned in or they attempted to plan in, the 10-day requirement was election day and the town hall was closed. So they turned them in the next day. I think they needed to give a few more hard copies and possibly the police department and the fire department haven't had a chance to comment either. So just be aware, and that if you were to make a motion, you may want a condition based on that to return with a plan that may need to be adjusted based on police or fire comment. It's not just Board of Selectmen, I feel, because
okay. Thanks for that clarification, Mark. So I would feel
Barbara,
yes.
Can I speak? There
Yes.
is a letter in your packet from fire. Well, it was from the additional information,
Okay.
and he had no issue with it.
Okay.
However, there was something from Board of Health. It was also with that you might want to read.
Okay. I would feel more comfortable if we had the Board of Selectmen. I like Mark's idea of rescheduling this hearing until next Thursday. Given that the other departments may or may not have had ample time to review, particularly the Board of Selectmen. This is a very important business in town. I think most of us in the community would second Michelle's sentiments that this is a really important part of our community. We want to see it be successful. I don't think we're going to have any objection, but I do think we need to go through the protocols. So if anybody else agrees with me, I'd like to make a motion that we reschedule this hearing for next Thursday, assuming that Board of Health, Fire Department, everybody's had a chance to review this, including the Board of Selectmen.
Second that.
Motion is made and has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need to take a roll call? Okay, so Michelle says aye. Mark says aye.
No, I abstain.
You abstain. Okay, so we got Michelle with an aye. We have Jack with an aye, Pete with an aye, and Barbara, aye. Motion passes. So next Thursday, D, I don't want you to take this in any way other than positive. We're just going to cross our i's and dot our t's, but we'll get you finished. We're going to schedule a special meeting to make sure that this gets handled appropriately for you. Is that going to cause you any issue?
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good luck there.
Thank you for being so accommodating. Thank you.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. Turn it back over to Mark.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, the next item on our agenda is a site plan review for 149 Bedford Street. We're going to meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers. I believe Niles is handling that tonight. So I'm going to, actually, before we get started, Niles, I'm just going to read into the record. I have 2 letters from fire and the police department, which I believe you guys have seen and started to address, but just for the record, I want to just state those. From Michael Bryan, the fire chief. The length of the driveway appears to be in excess of 150 feet. CMR 527 mandates an approved turnaround for a fire apparatus for all access roads in excess of 150 feet. And Chief Perkins said the only safety concern at this time is the protection of the proposed structure. We have been waiting for a vehicle to crash into this existing structure, and I'm surprised it isn't a common occurrence. I see that the proposed design moves the building further away from the roadway and places a retaining wall on the roadway intersection corner. Is this retaining wall sufficient to stop vehicles prior to striking the building? What about commercial motor vehicle is the only concern I have. Now, I believe that that may be just a misinterpretation of the plan with the retaining wall, Niles. He may be looking at the layout of the road on the lot rather than, and so at that point, I'm going to let you take over, address those 2 points and anything else you have with the plan.
Of course. For the record, Niles Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers here before you about 149 Bedford Street. I will address those as I go through my presentation. So is there any way I can share my screen?
Go right ahead.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Can you see the plans?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I did something on that. All right. So property is located at 149 Bedford Street. It's map 25, block 4, lot 2. It's located at the intersection of Rhode Island Road and Bedford Street. It's approximately 0.77 acres, about 3/4 of an acre in size, and it's also located in the business district. There are no wetlands on the property. However, there are some wetlands to the west and east offsite. So there is a 100-foot buffer zone that encroaches on the property that we will have to file with conservation for the work that we are proposing. Actually, we go to the next page. So those wetlands are located approximately here. and across Bedford Street here. So the buffer zone that I speak of is located is here. So everything within this area here is all within the buffer zone. There is currently an existing 2-story residential building on the property here. The property is serviced by town water and it has an existing septic system on the property. The property is not within any flood zones. It's not within any natural heritage, endangered species, no ACECs or anything like that. So there's no, other than the buffer zone to the wetlands, there's no other resource areas or any overlay districts that we would be concerned with on this property. As far as the site layout goes, the proposal, I'll go to the next sheet. So this is kind of the general layout of the property here. So we're proposing a 26 by 57 foot office building, and it's about 1,482 square feet. It's going to be proposed further away from the layout than what the existing building is. So the existing building at its closest point is 1.6 feet from the corner of the layout here. We're proposing it at a minimum of 15.1 feet. The only reason why we weren't even able to get it further away is because currently the setbacks in the business district are 40 feet front, side, and rear. So currently it meets that setback on this side, so we cannot encroach on that any further. So we are, that's what we're held by. So but again, we were able to gain about 13 or 14 feet in setback off of that layout, which obviously improves the situation. We are proposing 6 total spaces, one of them going to be handicapped van accessible, located here, and the other 5 spaces here. All the aisle that we are proposing is a 24-foot aisle, paved aisle with 30-foot radii, which meets Mass DOT's regulations as far as access onto the property. We are also proposing, and this is part of the new layout due to the comment from the fire department that I will address. We're proposing a 15-foot wide gravel extension from the 24-foot paved aisle that extends onto Rhode Island Road. So this basically will allow the fire department and any other emergency vehicle to access in and out without having to turn around on the property. This will be a do not enter sign on Rhode Island Road, and we also are proposing a rumble strip here as well to try to prevent anybody from wanting to come in and out. But we do have a proposed do not enter sign right here. There's a dumpster located here. That's going to be on a concrete slab and fenced in for privacy purposes. Septic system is located here. You see 2 of them. One of them is the reserve area, and one the primary area. There were perk tests done and witnessed by the Board of Health. The design will be submitted to the Board of Health once we address any concerns that the board may have, and we will submit those for definitive plans afterwards to the Board of Health. We are proposing, and I believe there are other gentlemen and Madeline can also address this, but there is a sign proposed. It's 5.5 feet by 7.5 foot sign proposed right here. We are going into in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals, I believe, next Thursday for a special permit because the size of the sign is a little bit larger than what's allowed by zoning. We are also going for the special permit with the Zoning Board of Appeals due to the fact that it does not meet the current 40-foot setbacks. Although we are making it more conforming than it already is, it still does need to go for a special permit. And again, that's going to be in front of I believe in front of the ZBA next Thursday, the 19th. Next sheet. So this is just kind of the general layout of the property. The next sheet kind of gets more into the details of the grading and the drainage, how we're handling stormwater. So to keep this pretty simple, basically what we're looking to do is to basically control all the runoff from the site through these infiltration basins. We're controlling up to a 100-year storm event for flow rate. Everything that everything that gets captured into this catch basin. So it's gonna run down this aisle, and then it's going to get into this catch basin, which has what's called a first defense unit. It's a mechanical unit that actually takes out all the, well, at least 80% of the silts and things of that nature. It's called total suspended solids. And then that is then discharged into the infiltration basin. Anything that reaches here will then be either discharged out to where it currently goes into the wetland, or it will overflow into a 100-year storm event. If it overreaches a 100-year storm, it's going to overtop this spillway, go into this secondary depression here, and it will go into the catch basin on MassDOT, in MassDOT's layout, which it currently goes now anyway. We do actually have to file with MassDOT for the curb cut, but we cannot do that, as I'm sure most of you are aware, until we receive all local approvals, including Board of Health, Conservation, Planning Board, and Zoning Board of Appeals. So that is something that we will address with them at that time. The next sheet is landscaping. Very simple. We're just basically proposing shrubbery around the front of the building here, or rear of the building, or however you want to look at it, and some around the parking areas here, and some trees, and we have details for those as we typically would. And then the last but not least is the erosion control plan. This is more for typically for conservation, would be a little bit more concerned with this, but again, I'll go through a general overview of it. Basically, what we've done is construction entrances. We propose that construction entrance because obviously Bedford Street's a busy road. Rhode Island Road's a busy road. We want to make sure that debris from any construction vehicles aren't going to be getting onto Bedford Street. So what we do is we propose a riprap entrance that allows for the truck's tires to, to knock off any of the dirt that is on their tires. And then we also propose sweeping every day or more if needed within the layout to make sure that there's no safety issues. There's also a dewatering basin located here in case water table is hit during construction. So that's a basin that is dug and water discharged to if need be. This is a vehicle storage area here for overnight if there's construction equipment or what have you that's left on site. That is dictated, shown here that we can fit that here. And then there's also a concrete washout station as well in a stockpile area here. So basically this is kind of standard for stormwater management to just to depict where you can designate these things. And I think that's actually really about it. I think I've kind of given you guys a general overview of everything, and I'd be happy. The last sheets on the plan set are just details, which I can go through if you have any questions. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody on the board has.
Barbara?
Hi there. It's so my question has to do, I have several questions, but the idea of having these retention ponds right on Route 18, is there any suggestion for how to make those visibly more attractive? Because they're going to look like big holes in the ground, and I'm just wondering, I've seen them done nicely and I've seen them done poorly. Is this just going to be rocks piled in and grass and so forth can grow in them?
So this is going to be, there's going to be a grass slopes with a sand bottom. That's what we always propose for our infiltration basins. So your 3-to-1 side slopes that go down into the bottom of the basin will be loam and seed, and then the bottom will be a sand. And the reason why we like that one is maintenance issues. One, it's easier to maintain as far as mowing, but the bottom is, after a while, with these first defense units that we're proposing within the catch basin, the idea is for no TSS or silts and anything to get out there. But if it does over time, then what they can do is they can get in there with a mini excavator, and they can scrape the bottom and replenish the sand to make sure it's infiltrating the way it should. So that will be the look of the basin. Okay.
Niles, what do you have for lighting? We've got a residential home, a couple of residential homes right here. There's so many things that are concerning to me about this. I live right near this, so I'm really glad something's going to be done. but it looks like we're doing a lot on a really small parcel. And I am concerned about the impact to the neighboring home. Can you tell me about your lighting plan?
As of right now, all I can see on the plan, and I don't have, maybe Madeline can speak up on this a little bit more, but all I can see at this point is at the ramp at the doorway is there's a light proposed at the, right here.
Okay.
I think that's really about it. There's nothing proposed shining out onto Rhode Island Road or onto Bedford Street or onto any abutting properties.
And the parking area wouldn't have any lighting there?
Yeah, that would be my concern.
Well, there's gonna have to be, well, we can make that a condition of the approval. We can also provide a photometrics plan if need be, but that's something that we can. Madeline, do you have anything to say on the lighting that you'd like to talk about?
My concern with the parking lighting would, how it would impact on the neighboring homes.
Yeah, we cannot shine any lighting onto the neighboring homes. That's something that when you're looking at lighting, is you cannot do that. So, without being an issue. So we do not plan on doing that.
Do you have any, in that buffer zone, is there any tree line or anything that would give those people some privacy from this development? 'Cause I don't think there's any trees there now.
No, there's no trees. There's not
Okay.
really much there. No.
So we could always ask for condition on trees to somehow help buffer that a little bit more. Why is it that so our setback requirement is quite a bit more than we have at this corner intersection. Is there any possibility of moving it? Have you already looked to try to accommodate? There's no way to get it to fit with the setbacks that are required?
No. Yeah, I can show you the layout sheet. So this is the layout sheet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the setback right here. See this dashed line? It kind of comes out this triangle. It's 40 feet all the way around. So you can see there's really no room there.
Mm-hmm.
But all I can say is that we're making it substantially better than what it is currently. So, I mean, and that's something, again, that's more for the planning board, more for the zoning board to determine as far as, whether or not it meets their, the within the neighborhood and all that. So, we feel as though what we're doing is much better than what's there currently.
Okay, as far as the access road that you're talking about with the gravel driveway and the signage, would you guys consider something a little bit more pronounced, maybe like a gate, something like that? Because I drive that road every single day and I can completely see people taking that right-hand turn going through there and getting to bypass the traffic.
And honestly, Barbara, if I may,
Yeah.
I know the Board of Selectmen has already said that there should be no access from Rhode Island Road. So I would honestly question whether they would even allow an emergency access from Rhode Island Road from what they said at their meeting on Monday.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
It's not from Rhode Island Road. It's to Rhode Island Road. It's not from Rhode Island Road. So let's make that clear. It's just so that the fire department has a way to back up. I mean, a way to get off the site safely. So it's not, nobody can ever turn, nobody's supposed to. There's a do not enter sign on there. And we've also provided a rumble strip as well. Nobody can turn on from Rhode Island Road onto the property.
But they will. I go there, I'm at that intersection every day and it's a long wait, and sometimes during heavy traffic times in the morning, you can't get out. So I can completely see commuters, especially taking that shortcut and getting themselves onto Bedford Street. It just seems like it would complicate matters to have that entrance there. So I'm glad that the Board of Selectmen were concerned about that as well. Does anybody else have comments?
Yeah,
I do.
Niles, I spoke to Jamie earlier today about this, and is there any way to make that a less appealing? I understand that it's an emergency exit, but I do feel like it does open a can of worms having it that it is a clear access, whether it's in or out. And I do think that once it's there, unless it's blocked, it will be used. So you know, it's only supposed to be used for a fire truck or emergency vehicle to exit. And I do feel like it should be limited to that, whether it's through a gate or a chain or something.
I mean, I can speak with my client regarding that. And Madeline, if you have anything to say on it. But-
That would be fine, Niles, that would be fine. We could accommodate something.
I mean, a
A
gate,
chain, something like that.
Can you have a gate or a bar across it that would be electronically activated
No.
for vehicles coming out?
Manually open when, you know,
Electronically?
we're not-
A motion detector.
everybody stop, only one person at a time. We're not gonna have them put an electric gate, but if we can put a gate, you're gonna help pay for the gate, Jack?
I'm just raising the question, Mark.
So this only needs to be accessed if the fire department shows up. So there's no reason to force them to put electronics on that. It's only if they had to get the truck out and it can't back out the driveway and back onto Route 18. So that in a pinch, we want them to gain access by pulling a pin out of a gate, swing the gate open and have the truck leave after the false alarm or for whatever reason. But we also do not want that access to be left open for, as Barbara said, people to be sitting at that light saying, gosh darn it, I want to just go right at the light and there's two cars in front of me and they want to turn left and they can't go, I'm cutting through.
Right.
And then they do that regularly and then people are going to come the other way and they'll be cutting across a lane of traffic at 79 and disrupting traffic if that's just left open as an access. So I think it's imperative that it be blocked somehow. So I would like you to, you know, between you guys at Zenith and Madeline, come up with something that you can put on the plan. I'd like it to be somewhat appealing looking. I don't want it to be a big ugly chain link type of thing. Single barred rail or something, or
Okay,
double hinged. That's just simple. It should be closed at all times. And the fire department, it was suggested to me by somebody that if you could put a Knox box on it, that the fire department has access to a key. All commercial buildings need a Knox box.
yeah,
And they lock your key outside of your building. So if they show up for a fire alarm at night, the
they
key,
can get in.
the door is in that box to the building and only the fire department has keys to those knock boxes. So if something like that went on the fence or the gate and they could open it and get through. And
That's
then
fine.
the person that would open that gate. So I think that would be a reasonable solution to guarantee that the fire department only has access. They can clearly get through whenever they need to, and it wouldn't be abused by other people.
Yep, thank you.
So I'm being told by the applicant and my client that that's absolutely reasonable and we'll absolutely add that to the plan. So that's not a problem at all.
Okay. Madeline, are you going to put any outside lighting in the parking area?
Whatever is necessary for the code, I would imagine. I haven't got the plans yet for electrical, so I don't really know.
All right, well, there is
what
no
would-
code as much as Lakeville has a strict lighting bylaw, which Niles is very familiar with, that all the lights have to be down lamps facing to the ground. We just don't want it to be such daytime with that residential property next door.
Right,
If we were to approve based on these plans, we would have to condition strictly that it meet the requirements of the Lakeville lighting bylaw. So I would strongly suggest, and there are lighting companies that will do it for almost no cost, as long as you buy the lights from them.
okay, yep, that's fine.
As an electrician, I would recommend talk to an electrician, see if he can get you a lighting plan. All you need to do is send him this document and they'll work it out and sell you some lights and we can see what they're going to do. They'll show the lumens all over the plan so that
Okay,
they'll prove with that plan that lights won't go into the neighboring property or onto the roadway. And that's kind of important because it's such a narrow property. You have roadway and residential on either side. So we'd really like to see something so your patrons are safe at night and as well as it complies with the Lakeville lighting bylaw.
that would be fine. Would that be something that could be perhaps a condition if you were to approve this tonight? Could that be a condition?
I would say, yeah, I mean, we could condition something to make it meet that, but we would like a copy of the lighting plan.
Absolutely.
So do you want to speak at all to the police department comments, Niles? With that corner?
Yeah, so they did mention, so they talked about a retaining wall. Again, the retaining wall, there is no retaining wall. I think it might be just a kind of a misread of the plan. I believe they're probably what they're looking at is the layout, because it is a thicker line. So we are not proposing anything at this time. Again, I think the biggest proposal is the fact that we're pulling the building away by over 15 feet or around 15 feet to create more of a buffer there. You know, and the fact that nothing has hit the building in, I don't know how many years, 40 years or whatever it is, kind of shows that. I get that it is close, and I get that it is, you know, it is an issue, but it hasn't proven itself an issue at this point. So, you
And
know,
I just wanted to have this public discussion, because I think, you know, that was something that I talked to Jamie about earlier today because of the concerns and possibly a guardrail. I think if you put a guardrail there, it creates more of a chance of impact from a vehicle that maybe even cut a turn tight, or a tractor trailer trying to round that turn, coming from 79 and taking a right to go south on 18. So I think with you guys moving the building back and it being flat level ground, I think that would be the safest condition. Would you not agree?
I definitely agree.
Okay, does any other board member have a specific comment based on that safety?
No.
All right.
Mark, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Peter.
Without revealing the eventual business here, you feel as 5 parking spaces is enough?
Madeline?
Yes, I do. It's the business that I would be proposing to put there is my existing real estate business, which currently most of my business is done remotely. We don't have a lot of traffic coming in and out. It's more somebody stopping by, dropping off a purchase and sale agreement, you know, perhaps having a closing there once in a while, but, you know, 2 or 3 cars at the most. We have 1 secretary per day. So personally, I don't think that it would be, you know, I think it would be appropriate and enough.
Okay. So Niles, on the gravel exit with the gate, was there discussion today between you guys at Zenith and the fire chief, or has he commented on that?
Well, so I know he definitely agrees with the access, the 15-foot access is what he would like to see. So
Okay, so
that's all that I'm aware of that was spoken about. Jamie actually had the conversation.
has he seen this plan?
Not that I'm aware of, but Jamie may have shown it to him. Jamie's on another meeting right now, so I can't ask him, but.
Yeah, well, if we did approval, I still want a condition based on that. I don't want to approve something in the fire department, you know, Mike O'Brien say, well, I wanted it this angle or that angle, and, you know, we want to see a plan that's accurate based on their comments, so.
No, nor do we want to put something out there that he's not comfortable with, so we completely agree with that.
Did the Board of Health approve everything you're trying to do there for septic and?
Well, no, we haven't actually submitted to the Board of Health yet, but we did get the perk tests out there. That's always the biggest thing. I mean, other than that, it's really just going through the fine details of the, you know, of the septic, but there's no big deals here, in my opinion. It's pretty straightforward septic design.
All right, so does anyone else have any comments from the board? Barbara?
The rendering of the building, if Niles can switch the screen, if that's possible.
I don't know if I have one.
We can see what it'll look like. It's going to be a 2-story building,
No,
1-story building.
I believe so. Hold on.
Okay. And while you're looking for that, Mark, my second question, and I don't know your thoughts or anybody else's thoughts on this, but I'm just really hung up about these retention locations. And, you know, would they be safer with, we don't have a tree buffer. We don't have anything to stop a car from driving right into that. So, because it's right on Route 18.
Is that something that when you apply to MassDOT for your curb cut, that would be reviewed by them as well, Niles? Because that's kind of in the layout of the road as well.
That's correct. It definitely will. We're actually utilizing some of their drainage currently, and they actually have an easement on our property. Let me see. Let's go to zoom in here a little bit. Bear with me. So there's an existing easement here that there, so you can see this is a catch basin here that runs down and it discharges out into a ditch that then eventually discharges into this wetland. This area here is all an easement that they own and we're working within. And they actually have a low area here now. So this already drops off from the road by about 4 feet, 4 to 5 feet in elevation, existing. So it's not really going to change. It's just going to define that area.
Niles, the type of drainage that you're talking about, that's actually going to be an improvement, I would imagine, from the runoff that's happening from Route 18.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actually going to be capturing. We're going to create less water going out, which I'm sure MassDOT will be very pleased with.
Okay.
You know, we're going to create less water going out into their area. So. Can you see the architecturals?
Yes, thank you
Okay.
so much.
No problem. No problem. I'm sorry. I didn't know I had them in front of me. So, as you can see, this is the front elevation, the rear elevation here. So the left elevation and the right elevation. So it's pretty much a standard, you know, there's nothing.
And Niles, you said it was 1 story?
I believe so. That's what our parking calculations are accounted for. Madeline, can you address that?
I plan on having a full set of stairs going to a second floor, which will be unfinished for storage because I'm not having a basement.
Okay.
So this is the first floor plan. You got 2 offices here, 2 baths. And then the second floor, I think this is an error, correct, Madeline? The office 3 and office 4.
Yes, I'm not planning on having offices up there. It's just for storage.
And you got a slab on grade. And then just some framing stuff. So yeah, this is kind of you know, what we're looking at here.
Were the abutters invited to this? I just want to make sure if there's anybody here for public comment that or would they have been notified? I don't know if that's required for this hearing or not.
I don't know the answer to that.
Red, no.
Okay.
I don't believe as part of the site
For
plan
the zoning
approval.
board hearing.
Skip is the neighbor that I know that we've talked, and he knows what my plans are.
Okay.
And he's in favor of them based on my conversations with him.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So the planning board is not the special permit granting authority for the sign. And I know you're here on behalf of Madeline for the sign. Would you like to speak at all to the sign? Is he muted?
Sure. I plan on having, in addition to my real estate business, which I've been in the real estate business for 30 years in the community, to relocate my office here, but also to have a digital marketing and promotion agency. And Liam Conway, who is deep rooted in the community as well, is going to be my partner. He has a graduate degree from college in marketing. So we plan on having a marketing company called Exposure Marketing Group, LLC, which I have a federal ID number for. And the sign itself is really what the business is going to be about. We could actually do the business from a remote location. But I didn't think I would get an approval for just having a sign on the property. So I'm going through this to put up a building, house my real estate, and to do my new proposed business from this location. The gentleman that's here with us tonight, David Quinn and Bob Messier, they are from the sign company, and it is, you know, a top state-of-the-art digital sign. They could speak more to you about that if you would like to have more information regarding the sign itself. But that is the crux of my business, and that's what I need to have an approval on to go forward with this plan.
Would any board members like to hear anything else about the sign from Mr. Quinn?
Can we see a picture? Do they know what they're, do we have a draft?
There is
I'd
one.
like to hear more about it. This is the first I've heard that this was a digital sign. Like
Who's
what it'll
speaking?
do, how bright it'll be.
This is David. There is a design I shot in Niles' plans there. I'm not sure, Niles, if you can scroll back to that.
Yeah,
In the details pages.
that's on the next to last sheet we have, right?
Just bear with me.
Right there?
Yes.
Right, yep.
So the top portion there would just be a static sign with the street address illuminated. The bottom portion is the digital display portion of the sign that Madeline was referring to.
Or, I mean, have you looked at the general bylaws for signage? Under general sign prohibitions on 6.6.2, it states that we can't have any signs, any part of which moves, flashes, or incorporates traveling or animated lights, and all beacons and flashing devices, whether part of, attached, are strictly prohibited.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. It also talks about potential to create a traffic hazard. I'm sorry, I should say that when I look at the bylaw, it says, no illumination shall be permitted which casts glare onto any residential premises or onto any portion of a way so as to create a traffic hazard. Okay, maybe that doesn't.
And this is very close proximity to a very dangerous intersection. So a flashing sign that close, it does not sound conducive of, you know, creating a safe environment.
So it's not a flashing sign. It'll be static for a certain time frame, and then a new advertisement will switch over, similar to the others that are in town along Route 18 there.
So it's not lit up.
It is lit up, correct? It's not flashing, though.
So big lighted sign right next to the intersection.
So I assume this sign is going to be rotating pictures of homes that are for sale. Is that what it does?
that will be part of it, yes.
Okay.
So as I said before, we're not the special permit granting authority for that sign, but it's nice to see it, nice to talk about it. So we'll leave that up to Zoning Board of Appeals, but thank you for that, Mr. Quinn.
Thank you.
So Barbara, earlier you touched on a privacy buffer between
Yes.
the new structure and the neighboring residential property.
Mhm. I would definitely like to see that be a condition of approval for sure.
We're talking a row of white pines.
I'd like somebody with more knowledge on trees and that kind of thing to suggest something. I can't recommend what to do, but I would like, the goal, I think, Mark, in my mind, would be to just provide the neighbors with some buffer from the commercial activity that's happening next door, and to help us maintain the rural character of our community. I don't know, that's kind of where my mind goes on there.
Niles, we've done this before with you guys. I'm trying to think of the Bella's Way had a privacy buffer between one of the new house lots and a neighbor in the front where we condition for evergreens. Giving you an opportunity to give input to this. Staggered evergreen trees every so many feet for the first 100 feet along that property line from, we don't want to block line of vision from driveways. You'd have to be back at least 10 or 15 feet from the edge of road.
Of course.
And then staggered evergreens back to a reasonable distance that gives the neighboring residential parcel some privacy.
As long as my client is okay with it, typically about every 8 feet staggered, back about 100, and I would say about 150 feet or so, that will get them past the back of the house that's currently there. So you've got this is the outline of the existing residential structure here. So, if we could get it back to at least like the parking spaces here, I think that's about, if I were to guess, it's about 150 feet or so. Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, that looks good.
That's fine, Niles.
You're okay with that, Madeline?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, my recommendation would, I think what we'd be, amenable to is every 8 feet staggered, some sort of an evergreen, starting about, I would say 5 feet off of the layout. That'll give about 12 to 15 feet off of the edge of pavement to make sure there's no issues with sight distance when somebody's looking to pull out for an emergency vehicle.
Yeah, the trees are going to grow. I would even you could go a few feet back from that and give it to them on the tail end for the backyard.
Of course. Yes, absolutely. As long as the board is amenable to that, I'd rather pull it further away. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather not, it's going to have to grow, and it would grow into the layout of the road or into that line of sight. And again, I mean, not that their privacy is not important. And if they sold the house, it would be kind of it might be an unappealing thing for a neighbor that may not want to have the lights or whatever from night. But their front yard is usually a less private area, and the backyard would be more private. So I would say, again, maybe 10 feet off the layout of the road to the first trunk, and give us 150 feet from there.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we have called a meeting for next week to continue our last hearing. I'm really not comfortable with the fire department thing until we hear back from Mike O'Brien about the gate. Because I want to hear from him regarding the Knox box and a key, and to make sure that he's all right with that condition. So I'd like to, at the applicant's approval and request, to continue this hearing until next Thursday. I know you guys will be at the ZBA, but at least we could hear back from the fire department. You're still pending a lot of other approvals. And with the conditions we talked about tonight, I think we're pretty much there, but like I say, I just don't feel comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
I did just confirm that we have not received any feedback from the fire department tonight with regards to the gate or anything of that nature. So we will receive, I'm sure we will be speaking with them before the next meeting for sure. And we will get confirmation on that. And if there's any issues, we'll deal with it.
All right, and feel free to communicate with me or Kathy. Kathy, go ahead. You have your hand up.
Could I suggest maybe having this meeting at 6:30, so then if these issues are resolved, when they go into the ZBA hearing, there won't be continued issues. Do you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Can everybody attend next Thursday at 6:30 instead of at 7?
Sure.
Thank
That
you.
would be fine.
Yep.
Kathy, because we've now got 2 hearings there, could you, and I'm fine with either order. I think they'll be relatively quick because we've pretty much gone through the process, and it's just a matter of hearing back on this one and hearing from the other boards on the other hearing. Like I said, this could be first, but you'll get it posted through LakeCAM for us.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to continue the hearing for 149 Bedford Street until Thursday, November 19th at 6:30.
Second.
I I have a motion and a second.
Aye. Second.
Michelle?
Aye.
So motion, I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously to continue the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara, could you take over for a few minutes? I'm going to log out and log back in because I'm having trouble on my end with my feed
You
here.
bet. So the next item on the agenda is going to be discussing the Ledgewood Estates
Oh, there we are.
project. You better now?
I must have
Okay.
minimized the screen and not know I did it. So, yeah, I can
Back to
take,
you, Mark.
sorry about that.
Not at all.
So yeah, next on the agenda is Ledgewood Estates. Spoke with Paul Turner earlier. I believe we have him here.
Yep.
How you doing, Paul?
Hi.
So we got feedback from town council. They did request that we have a peer review engineer do a final walkthrough on the conditions. We got a price from that peer review engineer that the town's working with right now. And he also has requested the original drainage calculations that the design was done off. Do you think that's something that you have a copy of or you could get from Outback?
Absolutely.
Okay. The cost that he has given us as an estimate is $3,000. So is that something you can write a check for to get that done?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yep.
Excuse me, Mark. Was there an additional fee for expenses, travel? We can include that.
For,
On his estimate, he includes the number figure you mentioned, and then he says an additional $200 in expenses for travel.
oh, I must have overlooked that.
Yeah.
So.
Paul, is that a big deal?
3,200.
Yep.
All right, so basically that'll mark the closing out of Ledgewood Estates. They'll do that, and obviously, if there's an issue, we'll have to address it with you.
Okay.
But it looks like you did a real good job, so I don't anticipate that. So if you could get a check to the town hall, Kathy, would you take care of that to get it into whatever house account they do?
Sure. Now this has that you've signed it. Have you signed the original quote or is that all set?
No,
He just got it.
Oh, okay. Because are you want to going to drop that by or just, I'm not sure how that works. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to sign this quote from Environmental Partners and then are you going to send that to them or what's the procedure on that?
yeah, I think we can communicate with Scott through email to say that the applicant has approved your work and he's dropping off a check at the town hall. Once we receive it, we'll notify you to commence the inspection process.
So, and you're going to sign this also and then get that to him?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for myself to be able to sign that, so all members don't need to sign the proposal.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And myself. Everybody voted aye. Motion carried unanimously. So I will take care of that signature on the proposal. And Paul, when you get a chance, you drop a check off and they'll get it done as soon as possible.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
That's the bulk of our work. I want to jump ahead to number 7 on tonight's agenda. The 43D committee. So has everybody seen the plans electronically for that project at the Lakeville Hospital?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, right now, the 43D committee needs to approve the application and deem it complete. So this is the planning board's last chance. If there is any other documentation that is missing that we would require, and I'm not saying anything right or wrong, is there any other documentation that we want them to supply?
Mark, I sent you the sound study I just want to make sure that that was included on the permitting. Perhaps I should direct that question to Michelle. Do
Well,
we
there
have a
are-
sound study?
They are doing that. Michelle, I'm not sure the actual engineer's name or the firm that's doing the sound study. It was mentioned late yesterday on the phone call we had.
Yep.
So, yeah. There is
Okay.
a peer review of the noise going on.
Yep.
But again, that's not part of the completeness of the application. So the completeness of the application would be, one of the things that environmental partners noticed was there was not a set of working architectural plans. So we requested that. It may not be in for the first public hearing. It will be in by the time that we're looking at architectural features for the density bonus, because they're over the 50% lot coverage. So we will get that, but we're trying to keep the process moving for the 180 days. So that was requested. If there's, again, if anybody's reviewed the documents and anything is missing, now's the time to ask for them, or we need to deem that package complete. So I guess I'm gonna let somebody either make a motion to let me tell them that the package is complete for the planning board, or you need to tell me what else we want in it. And again, environmental partners did a very thorough going through of all of the documentation. They did request some stuff, and I would say that the package is complete.
On that basis, I'll make a motion that the package has been complete and to accept.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Barbara?
Aye. Aye.
Jack, Michelle, and myself all vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. So at the next 43D committee, I will deem the package complete for the planning board. And that will, the other Concom and Board of Health need to do the same thing. I'm not sure if they meet between now and then. But once those are done, that starts the process and the time clock for the 180 days. And I think that we already have our first hearing scheduled. And that's something else I wanted to mention too. The schedule, I believe, changed, and I don't know if you guys got it since the last meeting, but there's the conflict now with ZBA that it will be Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. And it is the first and the third Thursdays, not everyone, but depending on when the hearing needed to be posted. So we may meet 3 Thursdays in a month between regular planning board and the Lakeville Hospital property public hearings, which will be ongoing. And Kathy, I was told, because I know you had concerns about the overlap, and that's going to be quite a bit of work. Nate said that they had brought somebody into the town hall to do some minutes. So he and Rich were talking about getting, Michelle, you could probably help. Who's the girl?
Yeah, Colleen Lieb. I'm not sure if I said her last name correctly, but she is going to be doing the minutes for the public hearings.
Just for the hospital property. So you won't have to do those because if you can't be present for ZBA.
Well, actually, I was going to ask the ZBA that if they might want to change their meetings for those dates, because, you know, some of those members might want to attend. And I know John's actually on the committee. I know he's not a voting member, but so I was just going to run it by them and see how they felt about it next week.
And we would certainly welcome you being there for the meetings, but we just
So-
didn't want to create a conflict that wasn't addressed in it. I know you do better with the minutes when you're present.
Yeah, they do.
So like I say, I was just looking for relief from you. If you can't be there, there is a backup, so you don't have.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like I said, I'll run it by them and see how they feel about it. So.
Okay. Michelle, do you have anything else for the 43D as the permits coordinator? Do we want to make any announcements tonight or updates?
I think you covered most of it, you know. We have a meeting next Wednesday. That's going to be the final meeting of the 43D committee. And then it's going to break up into the public hearings, and all of the boards will be jointly attending. I do plan on having agendas for those hearings that each of the boards can use, because every board that attends is going to have to post their own agenda for the meeting if they're attending and plan on speaking. So um, that's my plan going forward. I know, it's a tentative schedule right now. So the only one that we have set in stone is the December 3rd so far,
Okay.
I'd say.
Paul Turner, are you still here and present?
He's muted.
Yeah, I don't know if he's listening in either. I was just, Paul, are you there?
Hi, yes, hi.
I don't want to get into the public discussion of it, but I know you're in a butter out there at the Lakeville Hospital property. Are you going to attend any of those hearings?
Yes, I am.
Good, good. I would have a lot of concern about the noise in the back of that property, and I want you to know, as the planning board, we are concerned about that. And then we would love to hear your voice when it comes time.
Thank you. Sure, I will. Yep.
Thank you. So next item on the agenda. We're going to jump back to the master plan implementation, revisit the fee schedule. And is that what you sent? You had kind of sent some stuff today, Barbara, was fee related.
Yeah, so we talked about last week, Michelle and I worked on a project where we just tried to do a kind of a comparison by town of what their fee structures were. So we've started out this kind of monster document that has, by category of what our fees are. And if you all take a look at it, I didn't have time to make that document printable. I'll work on it when we do our next pass. But the idea was that we provided you with, I think it was 8 different towns. Some are surrounding towns, some are a little bit further away. So there's 8 towns to compare us with. And I included the, we included the median sales price for those areas. So you could do a comparison based on, kind of what the costs of the homes are, which I think is a direct reflection on profit margins, right? And then we listed out on the left side the categories of fees that would be utilized, and we just kind of start to compare. I was very surprised at what I learned. Michelle, were you?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. And
Yeah.
some towns have so much more, fees set for certain things, certain items. And I think it probably reduces confusion as to, how to charge certain projects, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing too is when I did speak with a couple of towns, I did tell them what we were doing, and I think it would be appropriate to share at least with the couple of communities that did provide us information directly, like Middleborough and Carver, because it's helpful for them to know too what our fees are and what surrounding areas are charging. So it can't hurt to share that information if I have the board's approval once we get there, because this is a draft.
Yeah. Did you share the draft with us already? Am I missing it or?
No, it came by email late today. So there's 4 documents in the email. The first one is a large Excel spreadsheet. Again, it's not printable format. Next time I do a next iteration, I'll make it printable. And then there's 3 supporting documentations, which are just printouts from other towns, mostly because I couldn't fit the notes into the grid without making it really, really huge. So I just included those attachments for review. And I think, Michelle, am I getting that right? Did we add anything else, or was that it?
I think that was it.
Okay. So Kathy sent that out late this afternoon. My suggestion, Mark, would be, it's a pretty big piece of information. I would put it on our list to review, maybe not for next week, but for the following meeting, for us to just have a discussion about what each of us reviewed in that grid. And, do we have thoughts or recommendations on changing our fee structures for any of these items based on what other towns are doing?
Yeah, okay, good point. So Kathy, our meeting next week at 6:30, the only 3 items on the agenda are going to be the coronavirus thing, 202 Main, and 149 Bedford. The 2 continuations we had tonight We're not going to do any other new business or old business. So nothing that comes in. We'll just keep that a brief meeting. There's nothing do we have anything in the pipeline like an A&R or anything? Okay, so yeah, just next Thursday's meeting will only be the continuation of 202 Main and 149 Bedford. And I'll read in the coronavirus thing.
I know I was like, what are we doing on the coronavirus?
Always item number 1 on the agenda, so.
Right. And you want 149 Bedford first, or
It really doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't
I think
matter? Okay.
it's relatively quick if we get the information back from the respective boards during the week, and if
Okay.
that stuff, just get it to us so
Yep.
it'll help us to make the decision more quickly or whatever.
Okay.
And then to Barbara's point, the 4 pages that she emailed this afternoon, put those on the agenda for our following meeting in December.
For the 10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just ask everybody to try to have a chance to review that before that meeting so that we have some discussion points and feedback on what we can do. And if I can get it printable before then, I'll send it to Kathy to share with everybody. I'm sure I'll find time to do that.
All right. So we're going to move on from master plan implementation. That's on the agenda for December 10th. The Development Opportunities District update. I know that Michelle, you did a little bit of legwork with a plan and some radiuses around the highway ramps. And actually, I noticed also, Barbara, and I thought that's what you were talking about, but the first document that you sent today, that's all I read earlier in the day, was it had the priority development districts.
Yes, so actually Michelle did a nice job because she took that, I just took a picture of the document from the master plan, but Michelle actually put them side by side, which I like that format better because it's easier to kind of compare. But I just thought if we were going to talk about these districts, we should probably give some consideration to those priority areas.
So my thoughts, our original discussion when Michelle did that nice job of putting the radiuses around the highway ramps, and look at the document today that just took the page out of the master plan showing the priority development districts.
Right.
And the other districts that are priority for open space to save.
Correct.
And I noticed that the 3 priority development districts were all relatively close proximity to the 2 highway ramps off 495.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm wondering, does it make sense to try and amend the Development Opportunities District to just encompass those 3 parcels?
I like it. Yeah.
Because it's kind of like when Zinc had done the marijuana bylaw to encompass the certain addresses within 2 industrial parks that he wanted to cover. I feel like the legwork would be done by describing those 3 properties.
Yep.
And that's priority development. And if we want to amend it in the future, we can add a parcel somewhere else, but at least we know we're only going to deal with Development Opportunities District on the priority development sites.
Yes.
So that then creates the next task of create that language to describe those 3 parcels, which would be the hospital property, which it's bigger than just itself, but it looks like it's getting developed now, but it's included. There was the piece north of Kenneth Welch Drive labeled, I think, Ocean Spray and something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the document right there. What was the other one, Barbara?
The other one was, we have the Ocean Spray Great Pond expansion area. We have the hospital redevelopment area. And are you thinking, well, the other one's Harding Street. That's not, I don't know that that's going to be the right area.
Yeah, I think that was.
You're not looking, are you looking down at Rocky Woods?
No.
You're still on the north side of town.
Yep, all 3 are right across the north side, those 3 red ones.
Yeah, so then that's basically those, as it's flagged on this form, Mark, it's actually 2. It's the Ocean Spray and Great Pond expansion area and the State Hospital redevelopment area, because the Harding Street development area That's already spoken for, and I don't know if, I mean, that, I guess that could be a third one.
Yeah, so the, getting feet, Rocky Woods. There's the piece off 140 called Rocky Woods, I think it's called.
Yep. That's down here further low. That's the one I was asking about, the Rocky Woods down here.
Yeah, that, I think that that one could be, but I see open space has it as a protected area.
Right.
That is within a certain distance of the highway. There's a ramp right there. That one has potential.
We also have this one here, which is, this is where, if you think of Star Drive-In, it's
Yeah.
right around here. That would be another area where we had a circle. Right, Michelle? There, you put a circle right there,
Yes.
over by the Star Drive-In.
Yep.
That one doesn't have any. We have the Cedar Swamp headlands there, but it's a little bit of a distance.
Yeah, but that's all, you know, I don't think we want to try and take all of the open space priority important
No,
habitat and try to develop it commercially.
no. No,
That's
we want to avoid that.
that Cedar Swamp headwaters stuff.
Yep.
That should all be protected, but the one parcel closest to the highway, there's a small chunk, not all three of those.
Yep.
You could include that parcel if we wanted to as kind of, and I guess I feel like we should ask for some feedback. If we're gonna have a public hearing to do that, ask feedback about those pieces, maybe notify abutters.
What about if, what about if Kathy was to send a memo to, you know, conservation? I mean, I would, and economic development, to ask them if they had any questions. I mean, that highway entrance on 140 is really, really important. And also, if remember, we're going to have the train going through there. So that is a prime development location where the Star Market is, right there on that corner.
Yeah, and it appears that Berkeley is, they're doing some development over there on their side of the road.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's something that we should not ignore. We should not ignore it from a
Mhm.
development standpoint.
So if we were to add another one in, that would be the best location, in my opinion, for us. It's already a well-traveled, well-documented area that I think you could put business. I don't know what business would want to go in there, but better there where it's at the corner of town and you don't have a lot of traffic coming through the community, you know?
We'll have to look at that one. So I guess, no, I'm gonna say no, we shouldn't do that one. But closer to the highway, what that is that's that open field.
Isn't that where wouldn't that be where they have that RV park?
Mhm.
I believe that's the other side of it.
So the Cedar Swamp Headlands is in between. So there's a gas station and the RV park there, right? No, those must be in Berkeley, on Berkeley town lines. This is Lakeville border. I see, okay.
Yeah, these are back, that's not, the town line is not 79.
Right, exactly. That's
So
what's confusing me.
off 79, that's what we need to be careful of, is we're not.
Yeah. So there's nothing really there that we can, I don't really see anything there that we could really work with.
No. Nope. But I think that the Great Ponds expansion is an option.
Yep.
And now, are you considering more the larger radius, the 1 mile, or are you looking at the half mile?
Well, I think I'm trying to look at existing property that's available close to other, like that the piece I just mentioned, the Ocean Spray and Great Ponds expansion, that's right next to the Kenneth Welch Industrial Park, the Great Ponds Industrial Park. There's not much else around there. There is a little bit of, there are some condos a little further up, I think Middleborough Ave, but I don't think that would be negatively impactful to neighborhoods. It's adjacent to existing development, and it's right on Route 18, close to a highway ramp. Not just focusing on a circle, but it is near or very close to the radius of one of those circles on Route 18, 495 ramps. I mean, we could do apply the circle, but that's going to encompass a lot of like either residential or existing business that we're really not trying to redevelop. We'd rather have undeveloped properties that I think are ideal for development. And so that goes to the point of that whole discussion. We don't want to take something that conservation has a restriction on and try to deem it priority development for commercial use, which could have been some of that Cedar Swamp Headwaters property we were just talking about. You know, we want to leave those things protected.
So there's a large industrial parcel. Pete might remember it better because we were talking about rezoning it at one time. That is probably within the half-mile radius of the 140 intersection with 79. And so there's that one parcel that I imagine is probably Star Drive-In, and the parcel next to it may be that one that we were talking about, I think. And then the parcel on the other side of that one, I think is where, I think that's they're a septic pumping company, but they also do, I think they grow cattle or something, grow beef.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bay State Disposal.
Yeah, Bay State Disposal. So if you look at that, I think if you combine those three large parcels right there, that might be something that you could do with it. As long as you kept it on that side of the highway and didn't get on the other side, you wouldn't impact conservation's Cedar Swamp.
Those were actually zoned business, and we tried to, because there was so much residential, we tried to change it back to just residential, if you recall, and we almost did, but there was a resident that his house was in there, and he wasn't quite sure he wanted to switch it out of business, and we withdrew changing it because of that. We didn't want to, you know, change somebody's status, even if they live in a house in a residential area. And obviously there were businesses, and they would have just stayed their businesses, you know, they had.
I believe based on that zoning map, that's industrial B.
Correct. Industrial B is what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, because you can't change the zoning on somebody's property if they disagree with it.
Excellent. That's right.
I'm just thinking down the road, Mark, future use, if those properties were to ever change hands, they might be a location in town that you could do something with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we certainly could add that, but we don't have to add a lot. I mean, that was one of the things that I think we were looking for, was some control over the Development Opportunities District. We could just say, let's do it just for now at the Great Ponds expansion site and the Ocean Spray. So that would be the one spot that we'd have to look for. It's at the most ideal for highway ramps. And then if that one gets developed, then we amend the bylaw to create the next one that we want to be developed.
I like that idea.
It gives us the control over what parcel would be open to that, you know, subject to those loose parameters of development opportunities, but it's where we want it. And we don't make it a blanket over the town by changing the bylaw to read that, the description of that property in red.
So now you mentioned next steps, Mark, in regards to coming up with language for these.
Yep, we have to
And
amend
then,
the bylaw.
and then amending the bylaw, which would have to bring to town meeting in the spring.
Yeah, first we need a public hearing. But I think, you know, we can do some homework so we get some language put together. If you looked at just using the most recent amendment to the marijuana recreational use overlay
Mhm.
to get a feel for how it was done, and then try to plug in the language for the Development Opportunities District to create this zone for a Development Opportunities District specifically to that parcel we're talking about. And I'm not sure if, I know that the citizen planner training has an amend the bylaw workshop coming up. If one hasn't already passed, that's something that.
I want to attend it. I just don't know if I'm gonna have time. Right?
What I did, not to that, but I was able to go online and I was able to print one of those entire packets for one of the PowerPoints that they do.
Oh,
Writing a defensible and reasonable decision, which we need to do for where the special permit granting authority for the hospital property, the Development Opportunities District. So that was helpful in me understanding that. I could actually probably get a copy of that to Kathy and she could include it so everybody could read through it. I know I still have some questions after reading it, but I got 80%. Go ahead, Kathy.
I just checked. I did attend that one and I can get access to the PowerPoint, I think, for the drafting amendments. I'll put it on
Amendment
my list.
or the
oh,
decision?
good.
Put it on my list.
Yeah, so if you can find that, Kathy.
Yeah.
Send it to the board. You don't have to wait until, whenever you get a chance to find it, that'd be awesome. All right, so I'm gonna move on. I think, you know, we're at a good spot with the Development Opportunities thing. Kathy can get us that. We start working on some homework of try to get some language to amend the Development Opportunities District to cover that spot. Once we get there, we'll post a public meeting for public comment. And at that point, that's gonna be within, I think, 6 months of town meeting.
I
And
think
that
that's
will
what it is.
go on the agenda for town meeting when they do the warrant. All right. So 8 is to review the zoning board of appeals petitions. Has everybody had a chance to go through those?
Yes.
So the first one is 119 Hemlock, which is labeled pink. The Pink family owns that. Looks like that property, they wanted to raise or demolish an existing outbuilding and rebuild a new one that was slightly wider. And they're just looking for the relief on the corner of the property line that already exists to maintain that with ZBA. I would say no comment, but if anybody else has any input, happy to hear it. You good, Peter?
Yeah, no comment.
All right, so make a motion to have no comment on 119 Hemlock Street. Did I get a second? I didn't hear it.
Okay.
I got 3 seconds. That's like 6. All right, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Everybody voted aye. The next item on the review from the ZBA is 149 Bedford Street. Actually, I went through this a little earlier. We actually had the discussion, but the special permit conditions that they're looking for 149 Bedford Street. Client is looking to raise the existing structure and construct a new office building. The proposed building will be set back further from both Rhode Island Road and Bedford Street. Then the existing building but still less than required in a business district. Also requesting is a special permit to allow a sign that is 41.25 square feet in area. The improvements as proposed will not negatively impact the neighborhood and will in fact enhance the aesthetics. That's debatable on the sign, but I think the building for sure. Does anybody have any recommendations on that?
All right, go ahead, Barbara.
No, you
sorry.
go ahead, Peter. No, you go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I hope that they take a real close look at that sign and actually maybe, because I've seen digital signs that are pretty reasonable, and then some of them just knock your socks off with how bright they are. It's the whole gambit. So if they could get maybe even just like a test example would be better for their case to the ZBA. Do you know what I mean? Because if they just go in and say it's going to be great, I don't know. So that's all.
I don't love it. I don't think it's consistent with rural character. That's just my opinion. I would prefer not to have a digital sign. I prefer to have no digital signs in town, but you know, we'll leave that to the powers that be. It's just my 2 cents.
Michelle?
I definitely agree. I mean, not only is the sign, you know, above and beyond the size limit, they're looking for multiple concessions regarding the sign, the placement, the lighting. I think we should pass a recommendation on to the ZBA that if they're going to, you know, grant relief on the size, that every other aspect should be adherent to the town bylaws.
Yep.
Okay, I second that. Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Motion to recommend to the ZBA that the sign, even if they grant relief on the size, that the sign comply with all other aspects of the town bylaw.
Yes.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously, Kathy. So you'll write something up that says that and send it to ZBA? All right. Next is Chapin 15 South Ave. This is the second time I'm seeing this. This came in front of conservation. I'm looking at, I don't know if they're looking to tear down a house or whatever. I guess I don't want to comment too much, but I always have a problem with the cocktail napkin plan drawn. You know, it's my belief is it's an investment flip property, and it's coming off of a couple of 8x11 sketches instead of a real engineered plan. But I guess that's up to the ZBA on that one, but unless anyone else has any comments on that one.
I'd recommend we pass with no comment, Mark.
Okay, motion.
Second.
Was that a motion, Barbara?
Yes.
Okay, Peter seconded it. So we have a motion and a second to no comment on Chapin 15 South Ave. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. So moving on, that's all of the ZBA stuff. So we got to approve minutes for October 22nd, which I have in front of me. That was a good sized meeting, lengthy, I guess, better word to describe it. Has everybody had a chance to review those minutes?
I have not, so I'm going to recuse myself.
I have,
How do they look to you, Jack?
I have.
You have?
Yes,
And how did they look to you?
it seemed to be fine for my limited experience.
Look accurate to your recollection?
Yes, sir,
I see you were present.
I was.
Peter?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion if Jack doesn't, motion to approve the meeting minutes October 22nd.
I second.
Thank
I
you.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
You want to abstain, Barbara, or you want to vote yes?
I haven't read them, but if they say they're okay, I'm sure it's okay.
Okay, so motion carries unanimously. Kathy, to item 10 on the agenda, old business, I have nothing on my agenda for the week. Is there anything?
Just to go back to the minutes, I had sent some older ones out. I don't know if you had received them. I can throw it back on there if not.
I did see them, but I certainly didn't get a chance to look at them.
Okay, I'll throw them back on then.
Why don't you put them on next week's? We could do minutes just on the end of next week's couple of hearings.
Okay.
All right, so on to new business. Approve amended check amount for the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. What's that all about, Kathy?
All right, so maybe last month you had to sign a paper because they needed a record of your signatures. So I received that back saying their fees have increased. So
Mhm.
I have to redo it.
Do we have to re-sign or we just need to redo the check?
You have to re-sign it just because it's going back up to accounting and then they'll issue the check.
We don't need to redo our signatures. I just need to sign.
Yes, for
Okay.
the approval.
Okay, so a motion from myself to sign that document on behalf of the board.
Yes.
That's a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion carries unanimously to sign the document for the Registry of Deeds. Item 11B. Well, wait. Yeah, Chapter 91 Waterways. Construction of a wall and relocation of a pier. We do that?
Was really confused. I've never seen this before in the planning board, and I spoke to Jamie about it, and he says that you as the chair have to sign it. It goes to different departments, and I don't know if it's just an acknowledgement that you've seen it. But I think he said that you'd see it in conservation also.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we see them there and we always say, well, we don't want to be the dock police, but, and we pretty much, it's good that people do the Chapter 91 because they're basically legalizing their dock. So I have no problem with it. Like I said, from a conservation standpoint, that everybody involved likes to see the documentation and the approval rather than people
Right.
on the weekend without the proper approval. So,
So I just put it so people would be familiar with what it was.
and this one will require my signature.
Yes.
So I make a motion that the board vote to have me sign the Chapter 91 Waterways License application for 119 Hemlock Shore.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. So item 12 is our next meeting is going to be November 19th at 6:30. And then our following meeting, I'll announce now, it's already scheduled for December 10th at 7 o'clock. And I think that's all of our business, and unless you have anything else, Kathy.
Nope, that's it.
So I will entertain the favorite motion.
Second.
You didn't even make it.
No, I'll make it.
Which motion, Jack?
Go ahead, Jack, do it.
Complete finish the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, that's right. I'll get the lingo down pretty soon.
Second.
All right, motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. You have to leave now. Thanks, guys.